And welcome to the Country Telegraph's just gone midday in Queensland, 1 o'clock in Victoria and in New South Wales. And I've no idea the other time zones. Give me a break, all right? Now, looking at the headlines from around Australia, some of the stories making news. Swan Hill Rural City Council is calling on the state government to provide immediate and decisive support for farmers and agri-businesses impacted by the March 2026 rain event, which was just horrendous to say the least. Talia Farm is one of Australia's largest table grape growers, has plunged into administration owing $50 million after extreme weather destroyed most of its harvest. And we'll talk about that in a second to someone very well known throughout Irymple and Sunraysia. Now, new data from more than 700 primary producers shows fuel supply is falling short of demand by millions of litres across regional Western Australia, with the most significant gaps in the grain-growing regions. Frestine Dairy has left 80 Victorian farmers without their February milk payments, forcing some farmers to rearrange bank payments. And finally, 6 men have been charged after an investigation dubbed Operation Pattern into the alleged theft and butchering of 2 head of cattle in WA's Kimberley region. So shortly, folks, we'll come back to our guest who's in a magnificent part of the world. It's called Irymple in Sunraysia. Not as good as Cardross, but we'll discuss that later. This is the Country Telegraph.
On the sunburnt banks of the mighty Murray River, there's a place where time seems to flow a little slower. It's here where the waters glisten with crystal stillness, where nature's chorus invites the liveliest silence, where in those golden hours at the break and close of day, you can spot twice as many suns shimmering in the sky. It was here in 1958 where Wyndham Hill-Smith first discovered Oxford Landing and dreamt of preserving its wonder for years to come. Today, the 6th generation of the Hill-Smith family tends to the land with the same devotion, committed to sourcing grapes from only estate and family-owned vineyards. Community remains at the heart of Oxford Landing. They've got each other's backs. They've got nature's back, driven to leave the land and future generations with as little worries as possible. There's one thing for sure, the glass is always half full at Oxford Landing. The wines here are crafted with care, fostering a hands-off approach that preserves the land's purity. In fact, these wines are all about preservation of the land, the community, and the industry itself. While the land must be preserved, its fruits are to be enjoyed today. They are to be sipped slowly and shared generously, along with cherished company. As you savour the vibrant serenity and fresh flavours of the region, take a moment to put your feet up and let time flow by.
The grape harvest is a busy time on this property near Mildura in northwest Victoria. This season's crop ripened under unusually cloudy skies, which delayed the harvest by a few weeks. However, now these grapes are ripe and full of juice, with a rich red colour prized by Asian buyers.
Today we're picking Crimson Seedless. It's a beautiful grape for our Asian markets. Both Japan and China absolutely love it because of its flavour and also its really bright, vibrant colours.
Red is a lucky colour in China, but it's not the only reason there's a growing appetite for this Australian-grown delicacy.
If you notice where I've rubbed with my finger, it's rubbing the bloom off. This fruit here is untouched. The bloom is stationary there, and that's what they prize over there because it means the fruit is fresh and beautiful to the consumer's eyes. And the best part about it is it tastes beautiful.
Eat some more grapes.
Tim Milner is a 4th-generation farmer here and proud to have built trust with his Chinese buyers.
China has been a good boom for us for a long time, but the most important thing that's happened in China is over these years we have developed a relationship, and not just relationship, we've developed friendship with our customers over there. That means they want our fruit because they can trust us, and that is what's helped Australian product get in over there. They are dealing with family farms, and they are families themselves.
Each year, China imports about half of Australia's 220,000-tonne harvest of table grapes. Like many exporters, Tim has faced challenges in recent years, and not just because of the pandemic.
I have today about 25 workers. I need 75 to 100. We should be picking 4,000 to 5,000 boxes a day, which is 45 tonne roughly each day. Our cool room capacity is actually up about 60 tonne. This year labour challenges have dropped that down. We're operating on maybe a third to half of our workforce we require. The fruit is beautiful, it's ready to go. Our buyers are really wanting it, there's very strong demand for it, but we just won't be able to physically pick it all, unfortunately.
However, Tim counts himself lucky to have workers at all.
I know other farmers where they've only got 2 or 3.
Despite the challenges, Tim will pack 3,000 tonnes for export this season. He's part of an $850 million table grape industry that's adapted to meet some quite specific Asian preferences.
When we first started packing for China, we never knew how to do the right pack styles. Then when they came over, they pulled us aside and they showed us how to actually pack this fruit. But the first pack that we ever did was a pure face pack, and when you look at the top of the box, all you see is berries. And it's just like a little carpet, solid block of grapes, and it looks absolutely marvellous when you look at it. Or there's also a hybrid stems up pack for them. Because the other thing that's very important to the Chinese customers is to fresh, bright green stems. G'day Em, how are you going?
Hey Tim, I'm great. How are you today?
Oh, very, very good.
Like many exporters, Tim is looking to expand his footprint in Asia with support from Austrade's Agribusiness Expansion Initiative.
For Australia, there's all of Southeast Asia has potential for us because of our geographical advantage there.
To help showcase Australia's table grape industry to the world, Sunraysia Farms featured in a recent Austrade promotional campaign.
We want to get into some of those other Southeast Asian markets, such as Thailand, Vietnam, and Singapore and Malaysia.
Southeast Asian markets love Australian table grapes because of the crunch, the way they look, and the high sugar content.
As international borders reopen, Tim's hopeful Asian buyers will soon return to Australia.
Asian buyers really value strong relationships, and they also value being able to see and taste the fruit themselves.
The only way we will succeed as an industry is if we all put good fruit into those markets and we all work together in that respect. So Abby is doing that by getting these guys into the markets and teaching these other growers. So if another grower does well, I do well. That's just how it works in the markets.
The Australian table grape industry has grown significantly, surrounded by its reputation in market. So as soon as one grower succeeds, the whole industry can rise up above with it.
Despite the current labour shortage, Tim plans to plant more fields, increasing future output.
So I definitely want to keep going. This property that we're on at the moment, we're only maybe 2/3 of the way through planting it. We've got a little bit left to go.
Every meal in China finishes with fresh fruit, and Tim says the sky's the limit for Australian table grape growers.
We're talking millions and millions of dollars that is coming in to be spent exclusively in the community. It's money that has been created and injected into the Australian economy. So that's the actual benefit.
Very good. What a fascinating story. I think it's a couple of years old now, but it gives you the idea of the enormity of what Sunraysia is all about and what Milner Grapes is all about. Now, Milner Grapes is a 4th generation family table grape farm, of course, based in Irymple, the epicentre of Sunraysia, besides Cardross. It is known for producing high quality crimson seedless grapes, which the farm also exports extensively to Asian markets, including China and Japan. Today we're going to talk to Greg Milner about the recent challenges such as the floods, the importance of water to his operations, and his exports of high quality fruit to the particular markets of Asia. We also talk about his farm's outlook and what Australia needs to do to ensure farms like Greg's prospers and survives the global headwinds. First of all, Greg, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here, Mike.
Now, first of all, which is the epicentre of Sunraysia? Cardross? Sunny Cliffs?
You're a funny man.
Yeah, my dad never.
Yeah, Cardross is sort of out the outskirts. It's a good place. It's a good place.
When I was there, it was Pierce's family store or something. It had a servo and a school. Never had.
It's still there. Yeah, it's still there. I think it's still got petrol actually.
Really? Shh. Tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Hey, tell us about your farm. Tell us about your block or blocks, and some of the challenges that you're looking at the moment. Because not only have you had a massive amount of rain, we have the fuel crisis at the moment, and heaven forbid if you can't get the old Massey Ferguson to crank up, you need a bit of fuel. Tell us what's happening with you.
Oh, it's at the minute it's not very exciting. There's a lot of headwind, a lot of pressure with a whole lot of different issues. Fuel is probably one of the smaller ones. One of the major ones is probably government interference with the MDBA, the water issues. It's making farming very, very difficult.
So what do we do about it? How do we make it better? I know that you have some good representation within Sunraysia, but if you look right across the board, those on the land are doing it tough, and it would seem that government really doesn't give a rat's about those on the land. What's your
I think there are too many idiots in charge of decisions.
Mm-hmm.
The people that make decisions are listening to people that come out of university and have no real concept of what actually farming is. The MDBA was supposed to be formed to protect the river. The river, I think, is probably the worst condition it's ever been. It was a lot better before the MDBA took control. We have issues of blue-green algae. Once upon a time when I was a kid, you'd go fishing and you would take a cup out of the boat, you would dip it into the water and you get yourself a drink. I think you'd end up in hospital now if you did that. The water quality is certainly degraded to such an extent that not many people would drink it straight out of the river. So sorry.
The river itself, why is it in such a poor state? I mean, I do recall, I mean, I left Sunraysia because Dad would go for a barbecue or a picnic down on the riverbanks, and I couldn't stand it. I've never seen flies so big and so many, so I had to leave. But the river was, though, it was this beautiful addition to the area. Why is it in such a bad state? Because if it's in a bad state, it doesn't augur well for the future, does it?
Well, there's a lot of environmental practices that, in my mind, are suspect. Irrigating the floodplains and saturating the floodplains and then depleting the water that's in the floodplains of oxygen because of all the leaf matters there. Then they drain that water, in some cases, back into the river system and doesn't have a good effect on the river. So there's a lot of management issues that are at fault with what the government's doing. I think people come out of universities with these high ideals and think they can fix all these problems, and they just seem to be making it worse. And I don't take into account the shortage and the amount of water they're taking out of the system for irrigation and food production, which puts more pressure on farmers. And a lot of farmers are actually going to the wall because within irrigation, because of that very reason, that just water's too expensive. Like at the minute, I think it's $500 a megalitre to buy water, and the return on the commodities are just not there.
It's a shocker, isn't it?
It's terrible.
How do we fix it? Because, yeah, I can recall, I have a very good memory. I can recall 250 years ago, that's when I was a kid, and you were a kid too. But I can recall then there was always state, federal, either New South Wales or Victorian governments putting their beak into areas they knew nothing about. It seems to have become worse. In those days, all we did was whinge about it and nothing else could happen because you couldn't do much. How do we make change? How do we get the governments to understand that once they kill the river, once they kill the farming communities, then it is not a good outlook for Australia?
Well, it's food production. You can see the current crisis we're in now with fuel, and when we can't get commodities into Australia because we're an island, it becomes very devastating. And if there's or if they put more pressure on food production, the issue is that in farming, most of the family farms, that's where all the expertise is in farming. And when they leave the business, all that expertise goes with them. And unfortunately, like I'm 73, and my son, Tim, who you saw on some of the promos, he's wanting to take over and his young family. And I feel for them because what I'm leaving my son is not a rosy picture. It saddens me that it's got to this stage. It really does. I just can't see a real answer because you got people like, Simon Crean in government, not Simon Crean, the current energy minister in government, and some of the lies that they tell, and this is what they tell about the condition of the Murray River. They just tell lies and expect people to believe it. And we've been to the High Court actually in probably about 2009 and 10 to try and get a solution for this. But they just threw us out of court. We raised over $500,000 to go to court, and they just run us out of money because they're bigger and better. They just do what they want. It seems now that all the private investment companies and superannuation companies are the ones that are buying up all this land. And as you just said in your promo, that one that just went broke, owing $50 million, well, that's what's happening, that these companies just come in, use investors' money, put pressure on the local farmer, the small guys, and because it's someone else's money, we'll just move on to the next project. And that's just what we're dealing with.
Yeah, there's a Murray-Darling Basin review on at the moment. But I have to tell you that the government loves reviews, don't they? And they go on for such a long time, and the end result is not much better than it was before, if not even worse than before. You mentioned there's others backs to the wall. They could go under, and then they're bought out by the larger ones. When I was there, I was surrounded by all these blockies, the Italians and the Greeks and stuff, and they had 20-acre blocks, and everyone survived. It was a great community. As these small blocks disappear, because you just can't make a living, and the big ones get bigger, it doesn't do much. It's not much chop, is it, for the local community either, because you got either the same people there who are out of work, haven't got much in their life because they've been just decimated, or they leave town. How is Sunraysia? I was there last year for my dad's funeral, and it's not looking. It looks all right, but it seemed to have, it lacks a spark. That's probably what it is. And it hasn't got that, in the days you and I used to do lappies around Langtree Avenue. But it was a great community because it was tight. It was, everyone had each other's back generally. It didn't seem to have it this time. It seemed like it was, everyone had their little island, which was their home, had their block, but wasn't that great community spirit. Do you find that too now? Do you think that's sort of gone?
I think Mildura is still a great town, but it's certainly got a lot bigger. And one of the main employers, I would suspect, in this town is NDIS. The exploitation of NDIS in this community. I mean, that the cars are running around all over the place, taking people out for coffees and just take them for walks and so on. And then you have, which if you want to get into another aspect of it, the health situation up here. If you were sick, really, you wouldn't take your drover's dog to the Mildura Base Hospital because it's in such a poor state. And we live in the flight path of the airport, and some days you can get up to 20 air ambulances flying over, taking people out of Mildura to Melbourne hospitals, Bendigo hospitals, or to Geelong hospitals. So the health system is degraded as well, and the state government have just taken so much money out of the health system, and their answer to it is, oh, well, anyone's real sick, you have a heart attack or you have a stroke or you have an accident. Like a friend of mine just broke their hip, and because they couldn't deal with a broken hip in Mildura, they flew her to Bendigo. So now she's disjointed from her family, got to go to Bendigo and do rehab in Bendigo. And the same thing in relation to water. You're dealing with these people that really they just don't care. They really don't care. It's out of the cities, and out of sight, out of mind, and that's how we feel in the country, I believe, and it's showing up in the amount of people farmers that will probably have to sell. I was talking to a real estate agent a couple of weeks ago about selling property, and he said, Greg, you waste your time. I said, I've got 60 on the books now. Just no one's interested. So it's pretty bad.
Okay, so the other way though is to somehow get through it. Which, I mean, I've got to tell you, I know Sunraysia very well, and that seems to be part of the makeup of it. You just get through it because you have no choice. But what I mean, you in that video showed us that you look after the Chinese market, you look after other Asian markets. How do we get through? How do you increase productivity? How do you make your life a little better than you're having now? Or have the markets been so saturated? We had a guy on before last week from Loxton, from I forgot the name of the winery, Oxford Landing, and he said there are just too many out there doing the same thing. Is that the same thing with you in Sunraysia? Are there just too many doing it? The big ones are doing it bigger and not better, but bigger, and there's a glut of your product, and therefore your prices come down?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that. I think we're protected a little bit because there's so much labour involved. Because you can't mechanicalise table grapes, so I think that protects in a certain aspect of it. If you can grow quality, and if you can produce quality, you'll always sell your fruit. And it's just that in the last a little bit, it's been very, very challenging to grow the quality because of weather conditions and because of lack of water, the excessive heat, like record temperatures. Then this year we had, in some places, in a week there was 8 inches of rain, which is Mildura's annual rainfall. Just in a week, and that has an impact on the quality of fruit. So if you can maintain your quality, I think that there's a really good future in table grapes, but it's just getting increasingly harder with all the headwinds, and a lot of them come from bureaucracy.
Yep, I totally agree. I think it's just if only we could do away with government. Yeah, maybe we could encourage them to go on a cruise. It runs out of diesel, and it just sails aimlessly around the Pacific Ocean. That might help. Tell me because I've got to ask you this: how's the fuel crisis looking for Sunraysia?
we're on rations, water, fuel, because we need significant amounts of fuel, but we're rationed because of the panic buying. There are service stations here that are running out of grades of fuel, like they might run out of 95 or they might run out of 91, or they might run out of some diesel. But I think we're managing. I think we're coping. I don't suspect that the panic is as bad here as what it is in the capital cities.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. Just in brief, how do you see the future of Sunraysia? Because I've gone way over time and I've been told off, but I can't help talking. If I meet someone from my country, I can't shut up, which is terrible.
It is a beautiful place up here. Let me tell you. I'm just talking from a business perspective, but it is a beautiful place. And when you open up about your barbecue, I suspect you're cooking the wrong meat with all those flies.
Oh no, there was snag.
It must have been the cooking.
No, Dad cooked it. I mean, he's as cheap as get out.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, those Coles sausages in white bread with sauce and normally in a barbecue, you get little black things on it sometimes with the barbecue.
Oh,
were flies. These were flies.
Yeah, I know. But that's all right.
I can't stand them. It was terrible. That's why
Lake Coleraine is even worse.
Oh man! Now we're talking, but I still think the Murray River, gorgeous as it is, the riverbank when you have a barbecue, it's my Lord, they're living.
It's nice, yeah.
Greg,
but it is nice. It is nice.
Look, we have to go. Do you do any socials, or I know because I can see you'll be on your X and you'll be on Facebook chirping away. Do you have any? If somebody wanted to contact you to have a bit of a chinwag about what's happening in Sunraysia with the industry, is there a way they can contact you?
No, I don't think so. They could probably go through you, I suppose. But
all right, good on you.
No, I used to be heavily involved in the industry, and I used to be chair of the associations and so forth. But I've decided, over the last few years, that let the younger generation take over. But I don't envy what they've got to do because we haven't left them in a very good situation. It's just so hard now.
It is terrible.
You just you really got to fight for everything you're getting, and most of the time you spend fighting. And we all really want to do is just grow the product, but there's so much political headwinds, and it just makes it difficult.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm just getting screamed at because I talk too much. See, it's your fault.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. Good to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Greg Milner there from Milner Farms. This is the Talking Telegraph, the Country Telegraph. Rod Bowles is Executive Officer and Company Secretary of Victorian Agricultural Shows Limited. Now, the organisation encompasses 110 affiliates, including 91 Victorian rural and regional agricultural societies, 12 field days, 6 rural and regional shows in New South Wales, and 1 rural and regional show in South Australia. VAS is a member-based, not-for-profit organisation that's dedicated to supporting local communities, deliver local hundreds of events in rural and regional Australia. And in addition, it runs 29 statewide competitions, from livestock to homecraft to show ambassadors. Got to welcome Rod Bowles. Rod, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mike.
And thanks for being patient. But you could hear there's a guy on the land in Sunraysia, and it's all of Australia is doing it tough. Victoria is doing it very tough. It must make it tough, though, to get the local show off the ground and get it happening, because there are so many distractions. How do you get through that, Rod?
Well, I guess I've had a few conversations in this last couple of weeks about all this because, we've just sort of got back on our feet again after COVID, affecting the operations of public events and the shows, and that's been amazing. The amount of bounce back there's been for the show societies. It just proved, after having a recess of the shows not happening over that period of a couple of years, how much they were valued and loved by the community. And yeah, a lot of them have bounced back really strongly and recorded some of their record gate takings and things from that times. But you know, there's ongoing challenges for agricultural shows all the time with OH&S requirements, WorkSafe on site, and you know, it's classed as a work site as an event, and meeting requirements and things for OH&S is challenging. Along with getting volunteers, we naturally, unfortunately, lose people due to natural causes. Our committees of show societies are generally an older age group, but in saying that, we have a lot of younger people flowing through into leadership roles and things in shows as well, which is important for the lifeblood of them all.
Yeah, it's a. I mean, I recall. I mean, field days. I used to love shows. The Mildura show was just big, and they are an important part, especially of smaller communities. It would be a great shame to see these closed, and that's probably why there's been a bit of a rally to save these. Your organisation is just so important, not just for providing an event. It creates a part of the glue that keeps those communities together. How do you cope? Because and I've just read out what you do, and there are more than dozens and dozens of different events. Question one: do you ever sleep? Question two: do you have a life? And how important is your organisation to these communities?
Well, I guess I'm the governing body CEO of the organisation, where we have a board of directors, and a number of those directors are also involved in their own local shows. We've got a huge volunteer base of people out there. There's generations of involvement with the country shows, and yeah, as I said, they're important to their regional communities. But part of the role of Victorian agriculture shows are to provide good governance. We also provide opportunities for young people, particularly in learning their skills of showing and judging of animals, sheep and cattle and the likes. We have competitions of grain judging. There's rural ambassadors for personal development. A lot of those rural ambassador successes remained in their shows and take on leadership roles, as well as the traditional competitions we run of, you know, the fruit cakes and the home craft things that are traditional within the pavilions. It shows that feature and flow through to state final level, culmination in finals at the Melbourne Royal Show, etc. So there's a whole package of things there, and one of the quotes I often use: the package of an agricultural show has something from the very young, right in the pram stage, right through to the very old, and it's a generational thing of involvement.
How have they changed from, I mean, if we go back, say, when I went to the show, you know, I actually went with Ned Kelly. But I mean, but how has it changed from, you know, because things have got to morph, got to grow, otherwise they do stop. How have they changed, say, in say, the last 20 or 30 years? What are some of the innovations that have occurred?
Well, you mentioned before about the field days, and a lot of those have established events that taking away that machinery aspect from the shows and creating a specialist event, which works really well for them. Part of our organisation is also things like the Australian Sheep and Wool Show. That's the national event for bringing all the sheep enthusiasts together. But the agriculture show, I guess, is now turned into more, you know, it's show bags and rides, and also the core of competitions. But there's also a entertainment element that is important, and having attractions and things to create that entertainment of, like, monster trucks, motorbikes, or as simple as the ferret race or something it might be at a little country show. So it all gets down to budget and what's affordable, and Yeah, and that's sort of the challenges of the committee, I suppose, to
Mm,
put on
mm.
something and keep introducing new ideas and things to make the event still relevant.
And you're in Bendigo. I used to work at 3BO. There you are. A long
Oh,
time.
right, there we go. That's probably how I know of you. Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
that's right. I mean, they
yeah,
they they shooed me
yeah,
away. Get out of
yeah.
Bendigo. Um, I could tell you some stories, some true. Tell me about though the sponsors for because I mean, as time goes on, there are so many opportunities for a sponsor to advertise, not just with one event. They can go to various online events. They can go to all sorts of opportunities. How do you cope? How do you bring in the new sponsors? And what's some of the hooks that you would use to say this is important to be seen at this event?
Well, most times a sponsor, it's usually by opening the door, knowing someone personally, sometimes involved with an organisation. But that's part of my role, I guess, is trying to get sponsorship to cover our state competitions. And for those that might be listening to this telecast, I would welcome any approach if you're interested in being involved, either through a state level or through a country show level. Um, yeah, it's a vital thing. Sponsorship is the core of giving that sort of working support of some cash support or that to put on some of these attractions or provide prize money or something like that to attract that audience. So it is a significant issue is getting sponsorship, and I've noticed since COVID, I guess that put a lot of in agricultural things to the wall a bit that it's now starting after 3 or 4 years on, starting to rebound. But now we're
Mm,
confronted with the fuel prices and things
mm,
that are going to
mm,
affect the travelling of our Showman's Carnival. It moves around Australia on an annual calendar. They've got huge trucks and diesel generators and things to run their amusements, and that's going to be an impact to that industry. Um, Also, yeah, just for competitors towing the horse float or taking the livestock to a show and all that. As I said, we've had some conversations in the last couple of weeks about what the impact might be. Let's hope it's not a long term, this situation we've got, but who's to know how long it could go for?
Yeah, that's right. I think when they start a war, they should have an idea what they're going to do after they start it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they forgot that rule. But it does create challenges, doesn't it? Because they're talking rationing. I mean, Chris Minns in New South Wales suggested going back to the COVID era of lockdowns in some way, which is terrifying to say the least. But the terrifying thing is that you are right. I mean, first of all, how do people get there, even though they're locals? But secondly, how do the events get there? If you haven't got the attractions, you ain't got much at all, have you?
Well, they're going to be, I guess, hand tied to increase their
Mm,
pricing
mm,
to come and travel to a country town and put on some entertainment or whatever it might be. It's everything's going to have an impact, and shows are trying to be a bit reluctant to increasing their prices too significantly, mindful of the pressures of young families and the economic times we've got. And that because often the purchase of the ticket at the gate is the cheaper part of the day because there's quite a lot of spending of rides and show bags and things like that that goes with the family day out of a country show. So
mm.
yeah, the committee are trying to keep their prices down, but rising costs, they've just got to try and meet those. And one of the big ones we've had is the cost of even insurance and things like that. Has just yeah risen a lot, as you said, over the last 10, 20 years. They're the significant things, the impact of LH&S and the rising costs of insurance and that confronts show societies, along with finding the resources of volunteers.
Yeah, and how do you attract volunteers? I mean, again, but it's interesting. There's a paradox here that things are tough. The economy is taking a battering. We have all sorts of uglies on the horizon, and the support for a lot of these shows and events it increases. But you still need those volunteers. How do you attract them?
Well, one of the initiatives we did as a board after the COVID was put some advertising on a TV network, and that got quite a bit of traction, not only promoting that there's a country show in your town, but also we had the offer there that they could connect through our website and offer to volunteer, and we got quite a great response out of that, and we're able to pass those leads on to the respective show societies in the areas, and some of them have become permanent helpers the week leading up to the show, or it might be they've now joined the committee or playing some significant role. So I've often said to people, there's a lot of mental health issues in our world, and it's a great thing if someone takes on a job to go out and volunteer. It can do a lot of stimulation and create social networks and all sorts of things for the betterment of people in general.
I think it's a magnificent, not diversion, but it's a facet. It's part of, it truly is part of living in the bush. And we do need these community events to hang around, because once they're gone, we become, especially with online stuff, you become isolated, and you don't want that in a community, because all sorts of crazy things happen sometimes between the ears. What are some of the events that are coming up in the near future?
Well, our Victorian calendar of shows is sort of just ceasing at the moment for the autumn run. The end of March is always the cut-off there, but of course the major Royal show in Australia is Sydney Royal, coming up in the next couple of weeks, and that's a huge showcase of bringing all country communities together, and people travel from all over Australia taking their livestock to that. It's a fairly significant show. A lot of our show societies at the moment are currently having their AGMs and getting their committees in place and gearing up for their spring shows that all start kicking off at the end of August, September onwards. And along with the time of Melbourne show, we've got about 75 shows in that spring section of the season. And so a lot of work is now currently being done. I currently sit on the Bendigo Show Committee as the chair of the program committee, and we're constructing our entertainment and program for our show that'll be in October, and along with having annual meetings and all that sort of business side of things that has to happen. It's not just a 2 or 3 day event, it's 12 months of planning and preparation, debriefing after, and all that sort of thing. It's a bit of a calendar of activity to put on a show.
If we can do anything to help, because I think it's it is so important to all communities, whether they're regional, rural, or in the outback. So the offer is there. Just give us a hoy if you want a hand. Rod, if somebody wants to find out more about where the events are, what shows are coming up, which field days, or just about your organisation, how do they do that?
Yeah, well, we've got a website that has all the show societies on that, and an annual calendar there of the dates that the shows are being held. And it's simple by going on to www.vicagshows.com.au, and there's a whole range of information there about the country shows and the closest one that might be near someone that's listening to this program. And you can certainly send us an email through the website if they're interested in being involved as a volunteer, and we can certainly put them in touch with the local show and connect them up, because it's the help we need. As I said, the shows have been, some of them over 150 years old. They've stood the test of time, but we always need that influx of volunteers to keep, fresh ideas and energy, towards the events. So,
And the final question is probably the most important question I could ever ask of you. This is the one that decides how good a bloke you are. Who do you follow in the footy?
Oh, well, I'm one of those torrid Blues supporters that has, I can remember the last premierships, but there's been a lot of expectations for the last 30 years, but we continue to have a similar pattern. So,
Well,
anyway.
my club, St Kilda, we took all your players, and we're performing just as well as they did last year. Not very well.
Yeah, and even Charlie Curnow at Sydney, well, he's still showing the traits he had at Carlton as well. So, anyway.
No, you're getting a bit bitchy there. You know that. Don't be a sore loser.
Well, as you say, as you see, money talks all languages, and you can't deny them the right to earn as much while they're in it. Football's only one of those things that's in their life for 8 or 10 years in their prime, and then they're feather dusters sometimes. So, anyway.
Nick Dacos from in Collingwood, he's been lured over to Tassie for the new side. They're saying something like 25 million.
Yeah, it's just getting ridiculous, and again, that'll be hard for football clubs to get enough sponsorship and traction to keep players, and they're trying to work on salary caps, and obviously there's been clubs that have been prosecuted over the years for breaching the regulations because they're trying to put the best group on the field, and so anyway, it's a hard one.
You and I, we can one day at the end of the season we could say, well, we're bottom four again. Anyway, look, great chatting. Again, if we can do anything to help, just give us a hoy, and it would be our pleasure to help. Rod Bowles there, here on the Country Telegraph.
I don't think I'd be where I would be or where I am now without having moved to Mount Isa.
I guess if you don't get out of your bubble from wherever you live in, you don't know what else is going on around the rest of the world.
The people, the opportunity, the places you can go see, the amount of adventuring you can do around here is just unlimited.
There's community groups for just about everything. We've got most sports covered. It's like-minded people, all encouraging.
Mount Isa is all about community. It's all about building those strong connections within each other.
We went out the other weekend, we got 15, 20 people to come out for a big four-wheel drive. Everyone loved it. The environment that everyone made was just good. Everyone there, everyone having a go.
You've got so much time after work finishes. The sun is up. I know people who put their speedboat in after work and go skiing.
You're able to spend a lot more time doing the things that you love when you're not having to commute so far to work every day.
You get on with everyone knows everyone. Everyone's got mates everywhere. Everyone's willing to help you out too, so you won't get that in the city.
I think you just have to give it a go. You just have to take every opportunity you possibly can and make the most of it.
Yeah, I'm glad I've made the decision I did. Something about the town just brings you back.
Experience of what it is like to be out here and get away from the hustle and bustle and the amazing natural beauty we have to offer out here and the fantastic people. If you're lucky, you might stay for 20 odd years.
And today's treat is a chat with the director of the Rockhampton Museum of Art. The gallery provides the region and visitors to new national contemporary artists and the arts. The permanent collection is one of national significance, tracking Australia's modernist movement, which is something I'm very interested in, with artworks by significant Australian artists, including practising artists. Now, Jonathan McBurnie is an artist, writer, curator, and the inaugural director at Rockhampton Museum of Art. He spent over 25 years experience in the arts sector and is still alive, which is great. Don't know about the liver, and completed his PhD at the University of Sydney in 2014. Intimacy is the latest Gallery 1 exhibition at Rockhampton Museum of Art and is curated by Jonathan. First of all, Jonathan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome.
Tell us about what you do, about the Museum of Art.
Well, we serve our Central Queensland community here, but we also really try to draw people into the region and just show it off. You know, part of our remit as the regional gallery for our beautiful region is to just feature local artists, but also bring national and international artists here and really spread the word about what we're doing and put on some wonderful exhibitions and programming for everybody.
Why is it so important for the area?
Well, you know, Rockhampton and Central Queensland generally, it's going through a period of change like a lot of regions are. You know, the internet and things like that have had a really big impact, particularly on places like Rockhampton that have been real hubs for government and civil services, things like that. So there's a lot of change going through and, you know, I think it's important to diversify. So Rockhampton, we can't rely on gold anymore, for example. That's a resource that has been close to depleted over at Mount Morgan. We still have the agriculture here, but you know, we need some other things, and cultural tourism is a really fantastic way of bringing people in and showing just what wonderful things we're doing culturally. So it's a part of that idea of updating and renewing and you know, showing off our region.
And your connection with the local artists?
Yeah, I actually have some family here. My aunt and uncle run a pottery called Knob Creek Pottery. That's not far away from here in Byfield, and that's been going since the early 80s. So I've had many Christmases here, even before I moved here myself.
Rocky's a great place. I've been through there a few times. I only stayed 1 or 2 days because we were heading up north, but it's a great part of the world, and it's actually it's very surprising because I used to think Rocky was going to be tumbleweeds down the street. That's a further thing because it's a big place, isn't it? What about the locals? How are they embracing the Rockhampton Museum of Art?
Oh, the locals have been very supportive. It can take a while, every now and then we do still meet someone that hasn't been in before. But what we do find is that once people have been in, they become repeat visitors. It's a bit like the zoo here. It's a really great place to bring visitors and family and friends that are coming into town. And we found that then a lot of those people will bring people and family and friends here. So it's a really wonderful resource, and it shows a different aspect of Rockhampton to what we're used to, which is wonderful.
I love the background. I'm jealous, by the way. I just thought I'd let you know, so I'm going to whinge about it later. But anyway, moving right along because it's gorgeous. I can't stand it.
It's a fun work. It's Ron Adams is the artist who did this one.
It's fantastic. Tell him bribery is on its way. Tell us about some of the events that are happening coming up. Tell us about Intimacy.
Well, Intimacy is an interesting show for me in that this space, it's hard probably for you to see, but the space we're in right now is really quite huge. I believe it may be the biggest single gallery space in regional Queensland, which is very exciting. But it can be quite challenging to continually bring these massive exhibitions into. And we thought, why don't we go from the opposite angle and do something that's very intimate, something that's very personal in this big space. See how we can divide it up and really force the viewers to have a very personal and intimate experience with all of the work. So it grew from there. And I suppose this, I think there's an enduring feeling of isolation for a lot of people after COVID. I think we're still getting used to how life can be again. So it's a little bit about that. And it's a little bit about, the world's a bit of a scary place right now. I think a lot of people are feeling very, very anxious about all sorts of things that are going on, both nationally and internationally. And this exhibition is it's an invitation to step away from that and really have a bit of a quiet and intimate moment with some beautiful work.
Mm. If the visitors, if people were travelling through, they had a few days to enjoy the surrounds and also Rocky itself. How do you suggest they take advantage of the museum?
Well, fortunately, we have a wonderful cafe here as well, which is very highly regarded. So it's a terrific place to kind of come, have a meal, have a coffee, check out one of the exhibitions, or pop upstairs. We often have workshops and other programming as well with the artists that we're working with, and we've got a wonderful shop here as well. So you can duck in for an hour, or you can spend a day here. So it's really great in that way. It's of course built along the beautiful foreshore of the Fitzroy River. So there's some really lovely natural areas you can go and enjoy as well.
What about for the locals lucky enough to live in Rocky and who would love to go to the Museum of Art as much as possible? Tell us about some of the free exhibitions.
Well, all of our exhibitions are free. So that includes this wonderful ground floor that we're in right now, as well as the 2 exhibition spaces upstairs. We also run a lot of workshops and artist talks and things like that for various degrees of cost. Some are free, some we need to pay a minimal fee to access. It just depends on what the program is. But there are things like yoga and Pilates that happen every week. We have special guest artists that come and speak. That's a free thing. So on Saturday after the launch, we'll be having around 10 of the artists in the gallery to speak to their work and answer questions. We also do the occasional dinner with a visiting artist. So we did a couple of weeks ago, we had Ben Quilty. We had a wonderful dinner with Ben. We had Sally Smart here and had a wonderful dinner with her. So those were two very highly regarded artists, and it was just a really fun opportunity to have them here with us in the space.
It actually sounds fantastic. I'm jealous again, so I'm going to have 2 weeks because they would be fascinating experiences, especially to sit down, have a couple of good wines, some great food, and just to talk and get past the facade of being an artist of great note. If somebody wants to find out more about the Rockhampton Museum of Art, how do they do that?
Well, we have a website. We have an online sign up for a newsletter that comes out every month. There's also a special members newsletter. So members are people that choose to support us a little more. I think it's $50 for a year for a membership. They get a few special little things for themselves. And we're also all over social media. We have an Instagram account and we have a Facebook account that regularly post what we're up to. So, and there's also a physical what's on booklet that we do twice or 3 times a year that people can come in and grab as well if they're in town. So we try to cover all of our bases and make it as easy as possible for everyone to know what we're doing.
It's also interesting too, as the regional areas become bigger now, because it's housing is just out of control in Brizzy and other cap cities. It's actually really interesting that these areas, such as the regional and the rural areas, are going to start to grow. So where there was a move away from these to the big cities because of the economics, they're all moving back to the bush now. To head back to Rockhampton with a facility with the Rockhampton Museum of Art is just simply astounding. Jonathan McBurnie, you are doing a great job, except for the background, which I hate you forever. But I'll get by.
Thank you so much.
Love it. I might have to do a snap.
Hopefully I'm blending in okay.
No, I can see the eyes. Good on you, mate. Thank you. Jonathan McBurnie here on the Country Telegraph. That's it for us for today. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch you again tomorrow. By the way, the image behind me is a huge city called Witchyproof. It's got a train line down the middle. And I've eaten there many times, not the train line, but the bunch of cafes around there. A great place if you're going to Mildura or heading from Mildura to Melbourne, or from Broken Hill to Melbourne. It's a great place to pop in and grab a burger or a meat pie, some chips, a sandwich, sanger and a coffee, but a great part of Victoria, Witchyproof. That's it for us. We'll catch you again tomorrow, we hope. Same time, same bale of hay, same phone box. Be kind to your neighbours. This is the Country Telegraph.